This will be part one of a three-part video series on using my Chinese 105cc chainsaw. As you can see, the box came wrapped in fiberglass and then single packed in a fairly quality cardboard box. The included tools were fairly standard for a chainsaw, similar quality to what you'd get at your regular box store. The styrofoam was a little beat up from the shipping. It did have to come from China after all. You can see it's been banged a little bit. Both the top part and the bottom part have some holes, which ended up getting a little bit of the styrofoam nurdles all over the chainsaw. However, overall, the box came through fairly well in the shipping. The chainsaw itself looks like just about every other chainsaw one might find at the regular chainsaw store. In fact, the badges on it look exactly like you would find from a very expensive one, not a Chinese knockoff. The air filter is very accessible. The screws on it work well. Should be easy to clean as it gets gummed up with sawdust anytime in the process. Accessing the chain attachment to the bar attachment is straightforward, exactly like every other chainsaw. Just want to get rid of a couple of the nurdles in there. Oops, first problem found. The threads on the oiler all messed up with the paint. Wasn't a very high quality paint job. Either the process of painting it, whether it was manual or it was machine, the threads got gummed up and the oiler cap would not go back on. Looking closely, I could see that it was fairly specific to one area, so got out my trusty knife. So thought if I could check and see if it was paint or it was a bad casting or a bad cutting. Turned out indeed it was just bad paint, and being a little bit foolish, I hadn't already plugged the oil with something like a paper towel to keep any of the chips from going in, but it did a pretty good job of keeping any of the chips. The chips came out in fairly large chunks and was able to get most of the chips out. I'll clean it out with a air compressor before actually putting any oil in there, so we'll see if that works well. But in terms of fixing the ability of the cap to screw on, once I'd gotten that cleaned out, the cap screwed on exactly the way it should, and didn't have any more problems with that. The rest of the chainsaw, the bar came in again a similar fiberglass wrapped cardboard box. I was a little more suspicious about how this one would travel, given that there was no padding in it and it was very long. I was quite pleasantly surprised that it was in fact triple wrapped in fiberglass, which made cutting it and opening it a little more difficult, but not enough to actually be a concern, given that the cardboard box underneath came out immaculately from the shipping. I assume from the box label that this is actually where this is the box that other chainsaw bars come from when they come from the Chinese factory and get shipped off to final assembly or something like that. The bar looks of high quality. All of the grooves look quality, straightforward. It fits on nicely. Exactly what I would expect from a fairly high quality chainsaw bar. The bar came with the chainsaw came with a 36-inch bar, which is what I'll start using it with. Eventually I'll go to a larger bar because my intention is to use this saw solely as a lumber mill chainsaw. The broken styrofoam has gotten all over the place, so be aware that you're going to have some problems with that when you're in the unboxing. But so far everything looks good. Going over to the fuel gauge, the fuel cap itself fell right out. There is a retaining chain with a piece of metal that's designed to keep the cap from falling out. The piece of metal had not been bent wide enough to actually stick on the opening. So a little bit of bending later and the fuel cap would not be falling off extraneously. The last thing that was a concern is the switch, and the switch goes the wrong way. We may have to switch that, but we'll give it a try, see how it works. Overall, first impression is it's a relatively high quality piece.